Well, welcome from Midway Church. Today's message is what's in your hand. In Exodus chapter 4 and verse 1, it says, "And Moses answered and said, But behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice, for they will say, The Lord hath not appeared unto thee. And the Lord said unto him, What is that in thine hand? And he said, A rod." In Exodus, we read of a man named Moses. Moses was just that, a man. We see in Exodus chapter 3 that Moses was a shepherd. God had called Moses to lead his people out of slavery, but Moses felt that he just didn't have what it would take to get the job done. Moses said, "Who am I that I should go unto Pharaoh?" God was calling him, but Moses could only see his personal weakness. So the Lord asked Moses a question. God said, "What's in your hand?" Moses said, "A rod, a shepherd's staff." It was nothing fancy, just a stick, basically. To the Egyptians, shepherds were the lowest of the low, and the rod that Moses held in his hand was the tool of the foolish. In Exodus chapter 4, in verse 20, and it says, "And Moses took his wife and his sons and set them upon an ass, and he returned to the land of Egypt. And Moses took the rod of God in his hand." Moses would soon realize that God did not need some fancy weapon to free his people. God would use the things that are powerless to shame those who are powerful. Moses soon come to realize that what he had in his hand was the rod of God. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 27, it says, "But God hath chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. And God hath chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things that are mighty." God chooses things that are despised by the world, things that are counted as nothing, and uses them to bring them to nothing. What the world considers important, God uses those foolish things to bring them to nothing. He does this so that no man can ever boast in his presence. God's going to do it by his mighty hand, not by the strength of your own hand. So I'm going to ask you the question, what's in your hand? What is it that you have right now? Not what you hope to have in a few years, but today, what is it that you have in your hand? What is it that the Lord can use to free his people from the slavery of sin? Now, the world, they might think that what you have in your hands is worthless. But I'll tell you that God uses the weak things of the world to confound the wise. God is looking for a willing soul to use what you have in your hands to free his people from the depths of hell. Give him what you have. God's not looking for talent, but looking for a dedicated heart. God uses what we have, not what we might get. What's in your hand, Moses? A rod. I'm going to use it to free my people. What's in your hand, David? A sling. I'll use it to slay the giant. What's in your hand, Gideon? A pitcher. I'll use it to defeat the Midianites. What's in your hand, Samson? A jawbone. I'll use it to defeat the Philistines. What's in your hand, little boy? Bread and fish. I'll use it to feed 5,000. What's in your hand, sower? Seed. I'll use it to bring forth fruit. What's in your hand, Christian? A Bible. I'll use it to defeat Satan. What's in your hand, Jesus, my son? Nails. I will use it to save my people. In your hand is the power of God. Now here's your truth to take with you today. It's in Exodus chapter 15 and verse 6. And here's what the Bible says. It says, "Thy right hand, O Lord, is become glorious in power. Thy right hand, O Lord, hath dashed in pieces the enemy." May God's grace be with you.